France 24's Dheepthika Laurent is at the courthouse in Paris where that trial is taking place. Deepthi, what more can you tell us?
Well, Jeannie, today marks sort of a new chapter in this trial, this 3-month-long trial. It will be the beginning of statements given by plaintiffs. There are hundreds of plaintiffs involved in this court case, and we're expected over the next 5 weeks to be hearing their stories from about 300 of those plaintiffs. Some of them were injured in the attacks. Some of them are family members who lost loved ones or whose loved ones were injured. Others happened to be on the boulevard that night on July 14, 2016, and indeed others were first aid responders like firefighters or paramedics. Indeed, today is the first day. We did hear a few stories yesterday by a couple of plaintiffs who won't be available over the next 5 weeks, and as you can imagine, each story is more harrowing than the next. We heard from, for instance, a nightclub owner yesterday whose nightclub basically was turned into a makeshift hospital. He talked about how they had to break the windows of cars parked in front of the nightclub so they could put those cars in neutral and make room for the ambulances who were coming in to treat the dozens of people who had been injured in the vicinity of his nightclub. Now, today we're expected to hear from a few families of those who lost loved ones. In particular, there'll be the Bouhlel family who are expected to give their statement. They lost their 13-year-old daughter that night in 2016. And in fact, they were only able to find her body 3 days after the Nice attacks because their family had basically been dispersed at the moment that Mohamed Lahouaiej-Bouhlel drove the truck onto the boulevard. They lost each other and they were only able to find the body of their daughter a painstaking 3 days later. There's also the family of another woman, a young woman, who's the family is expected to speak. They lost a young woman who had come to Nice to celebrate basically graduating high school and the beginning of a new chapter in her life. So these next 5 weeks will certainly be very harrowing, very painful for the victims, but very crucial part of this trial into those 8 people who are accused of helping Mohamed Lahouaiej-Bouhlel carry out those attacks in Nice. Jeannie.
Deepthi, thank you for that. Dheepthika Laurent there reporting on that trial for that attack that truly was another national trauma for France.